if you write a book and the name of the book is Brady versus Manning, and then you get Brady versus Manning in the conference finals.
That's good.
Gary, you got to be pretty happy.
I would say that you probably had the order of happiness incorrect.
Oh, really?
I think I was probably happier than Archie and Olivia.
Right, because they're used to it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, here it is. The book came out in September. It's been doing great, a New York Times bestseller. And now I get like a second bite at the apple, so to speak, with them in the championship game. It's exactly how I had it planned. I came up with the idea in March of 2013, knew the book was going to come out in September of 2015, and that 4 months later, they'd be playing the AFC Championship game, and Peyton is likely to retire at the end of the season, so a lot of focus would be on this game.
Did you really think that out like that, or are you just fibbing?
Come on, Michael.
Really?
I'll let you figure that out yourself.
Wow.
I mean, the book is wonderful.
If I had that kind of foresight, I would have hit Powerball at this point. I wouldn't be sitting here with you.
Don, this book made your list? This is on your list for the year?
I read it last year. I read it.
I got him a book right away.
And I thought it was fabulous. And what's great about the book is it's just not about the games. It's about their relationship. And I think the thing that really not shocked me, but I guess just made me just happy is that they get it. So many times you talk to athletes and they downplay relationships and rivalries. Like, they just really seem to understand how each one fits in each other's lives.
Absolutely. And I have some stuff from Rodney Harrison and Dallas Clark in the book that said, maybe one wouldn't be what he is today without the other. Being there, always pushing them and always being compared to them and meeting, 17 times. Think about this. Elway and Marino come into the league together in 83. Elway retires after 98, so that's 16 seasons together. How many times did they play each other?
Elway and Marino. 5?
3. 2 of them came in Elway's final season. So for the first 15 years they were in the league together, they faced each other once.
Wow.
These guys 17 times in the 15 years that Brady's been the starter. But then if you eliminate 08, because Brady got hurt in the first quarter of the first game, and 2011, when Manning didn't play, so this is 17 times in 13 years, and only in the first year, in 2001, were they in the same division.
Right.
And the NFL realigned and put the Colts in the AFC South. So they play each other every year because their teams always finish in first place. So the way the schedule goes, that's how it matches up. It's just been tremendous where you've had 2 of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history whose careers have basically run side by side and playing each other so frequently that I know when the schedule comes out in April, for most of the last 14, 15 years, or as soon as Brady really established himself, we've always looked and said, okay, when's the Brady Manning game? And it was always in the middle of the season, pretty much always on a Sunday night or a Monday night before they went to the Sunday night games, and always a highlight. And the whole thing really kind of defines this era of the NFL where it's been so profitable and so popular, and these 2 guys are really the face of it.
John, with Gary Myers, he's a football columnist for the New York Daily News. He has out the book, Brady versus Manning. If you get to that level in any aspect of life, you have an ego. Now, a lot of people think of ego as a negative thing, but ego drives people as well. With the egos,
I see that with you every day.
That's true. I don't really
right,
have an ego.
He's such a troublemaker.
Believe me. Well, let's not go there.
He didn't deny it, did he?
No.
No, I loathe myself. I do deny it. Brady versus Manning, do they like each other or do they dislike each other? Because, they're both vying for being the best of their generation.
Yeah, they like each other more than you guys like each other.
No,
and I know
we
you guys
love
are
each
buddies.
other. Yes.
You guys are buddies. They really have become friends, and I tell the story that and then they text each other, they play golf together a lot. In the summer of 2013, when Brady and his wife Giselle had this small house in Brentwood that recently sold for $40 million. Peyton and his wife were out in California, and this is a couple of months before training camp starts. And Peyton just texts Tom, "Hey, you guys in town?" Because he knew they spent about half this off season in L.A. And he goes, "Yeah, why don't you come over for dinner?" So the Mannings and the Bradys, just the 4 of them, sat around the table in 3-4 hours. Giselle did not cook. I asked Peyton who cooked, and he said it was not Giselle.
Right.
And, before dinner, the guys were standing around talking football, but when they sat down, they were just having, normal, everyday conversation. And it's just a great visual when you think about, 2 of the greatest players in NFL history sitting there with their wives in Tom's home. And I think that really accentuates that they are friends, because you don't, invite casual friends or just, superficial friends over in a situation like that. And I think what's bonded them is when Peyton looks at Tom and Tom looks at Peyton, they say, who else but this guy really understands what I go through with the pressure that comes from all the success and the popularity. Now, Peyton relies on Eli on the X's and O's. If they have a common opponent within 2 weeks, they're picking each other's brain. Brady and Manning don't talk about that stuff. They root for each other to do well, but they root for the other guy's team to lose because they're always fighting for playoff position. But they do talk about lots of other stuff that good friends do talk about.
Is it fair that Brady is looked upon as the better quarterback because of the postseason success?
No, because I really believe that you judge coaches and quarterbacks by their rings and what they've
When it's
done.
close. I mean, when the conversation is close, the rings are the tiebreaker.
Oh, yeah, that's what separates. Absolutely. Right. I got what you said. I think Peyton's the greatest regular season quarterback and maybe the greatest regular season player in NFL history. But I think that Tom is the greatest quarterback because when you incorporate January and the first Sunday in February, that completely separates him. 6 Super Bowls, 4 championships, as opposed to 3 and 1 championship. Now, the interesting thing is that Brady lost his 2 Super Bowls by a total of 7 points and won his 4 by a total of 13 points. So he could be 6-0, a couple plays here and there. He could be 0-6.
Right.
And just think about how the narrative on Brady's career changed because of that interception that Russell Wilson threw at the end of the Super Bowl. We're talking about now as the greatest quarterback in NFL history. But if they had lost that game, Mike, then we're saying Brady's lost 3 Super Bowls in a row, and now it's more than 10 years since he won his last one. Instead, we're talking about he's won 4, he's tied Montana, he's tied Bradshaw, he's been to 6, which is 2 more than either of those guys, and he's completely separated himself from anybody else.